Nigel Feetham, thank you for speaking to us on Viewpoint. The first thing I have to notice is your change of title. Albert Isola was Minister for Financial Services, and amongst others, and you are Minister for Justice, Trade and Industry.
That is correct. There's a little bit of a story behind that. When the Chief Minister communicated my portfolio to me, he said, Nigel, I'm changing the title for the portfolio to Minister for Justice and Trade and Industry in honour and respect for your father, Michael Feetham, who was one of the first Ministers for Trade and Industry. So if you come into my office, you'll see the signs there with every minister that has served the people of Gibraltar and their portfolio. I must say I was very touched by the Chief Minister's gesture. In this context, trade and industry obviously means financial services and gaming, and clearly my portfolio is much wider than that, and whilst it also includes justice, it includes the police, postal services, Gib Telecom, and the prison service as well. So I'm delighted to be doing this job, Ros. You can't imagine how happy I am.
But were you expecting some of those? Were you expecting justice?
I wasn't, to be honest, and in my relationship with Fabian, at every stage over the last 8 months, I've never asked for anything. I've never said to Fabian, I want this, I want that. To the extent that he's obviously offered things, to the extent that pre the election, he asked me whether I was interested in standing for election. I said yes, but at no stage have I said, I'll do this if you do that for me. That has never happened. And therefore, when we were elected last Friday, I was working on the assumption that the Chief Minister would be designating me as Minister for Financial Services and Gaming, which he did say during the election campaign, and nothing else. But I'm delighted that he has added ministries to that portfolio, because all I want to do, Ros, is to serve the people of Gibraltar, and if that means working overnight, that is what I intend to do. I sleep very little in any events, so to that extent, I'm absolutely delighted.
So both Feetham brothers were Ministers for Justice and father for Minister for Trade and Industry.
Indeed, I think Danny was, if I'm not mistaken, I think Danny was the first Minister for Justice under the new constitution. And let me say that Danny did a wonderful job as Minister for Justice, and therefore I send this message to my brother, Danny, how proud I am of the ministerial work that he did, and I hope he listens to this interview, and I send my love to him as well post the election campaign.
Oh, I love all the brotherly love that's come out in this election. Let me just ask you about what you've been doing since you were elected, because I understand that within an hour you were in the office.
Indeed. I mean, I made a commitment to the people of Gibraltar during the election campaign, and I said, I pledge that within an hour of taking office, within an hour of swearing my allegiance to His Majesty, the King, I will start my work. And true to my word, I left the John Mackintosh Hall. We went and had breakfast with the team. I think at 9:30 we were sworn in by His Excellency the Governor, and after that I did say to Fabian, can I please start work straight away? And I came to this office. I sat down with all members of staff. I've made it a point not just of sitting down with heads of department. I love my interaction with people. I've met everybody in this department on a Friday, and then I came to work on a Saturday. I just needed to come to work on the Saturday because I wanted to hit the road running, so to speak, on the Monday, and this is exactly what I've been doing. So I've met, other than heads of department, I've met trade associations already, I've met the gambling regulator, I visited the gambling regulator's office. Aside from having a meeting with him in my office, I wanted to meet staff as well, personally. I've had dinner with the Financial Services Commission board as well. I wanted to be absolutely clear in communicating what my manifesto commitments were, important as they are, in the financial services sector. So they offered an opportunity for me to address the board over dinner, which I did take that offer up. And I've also visited the Chief Justice on a courtesy call. I visited the courts. I've met people and staff there. Yesterday afternoon, I met the Commissioner of Police and the command team at the police station. I think we had 2 hours and 20 minutes, I believe it was. And I'm continuing to meet people today after this interview. It's been back-to-back meetings, and I absolutely love what I'm doing.
I know you said you weren't expecting justice and policing, and it's very early days, but do you have in mind already, what needs to be done in those areas?
Okay, I've got to be very honest with you. I need to sit down and I need to discuss what our policy priorities are in that area. I did discuss with the court service when I met with them what their needs as a court service were. Those conversations are obviously confidential. So what I intend to do is to sit down with my staff here, heads of department, and clearly prioritise on those matters.
Well, we'll talk about justice and policing at some time down the line, I'm
Of
sure.
course
There'll
we
be
will.
plenty of time for that. But let's stick to the one that you are the most familiar with,
Yes.
financial services. And there's quite a lot happening over the next week. Do you want to
Correct,
just
yes.
fill us in?
Absolutely. We have, for the first time since COVID, so it's been a number of years where we haven't had really trade shows in the United Kingdom. One of the biggest events in the financial services calendar is the Gibraltar Day in London, where effectively the Minister for Financial Services and the Chief Minister host a series of events in London. It starts with the lunch, the Gibraltar Day lunch. On the Monday, we expect hundreds, if not over 1,000 guests to attend all the events, where we will be communicating to them what His Majesty's Government of Gibraltar's policy priorities are. And this is exactly what I expect to be doing over the course of Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. I also have meetings lined up with UK Treasury, important as those are, clearly, for the purposes of matters relating to GAR, the common market between Gibraltar and the UK, and indeed FATF issues. And then I'm very happy to communicate to you, Ros, that I will be addressing on Friday in Paris, I will be addressing the plenary of the FATF in Paris to communicate His Majesty's Government of Gibraltar's commitment on all matters relating to FATF, AML and related issues.
Well, let's hope you don't have to offer your resignation to the Chief Minister as you pledged.
I am very confident that I won't.
Okay, one other thing that you said is that one of your aims is to reduce the dependency on the UK market to diversify. Can you just give us a rough idea?
Delighted to do that. That's exactly one of the policy matters that I discussed with the Financial Services Commission over dinner a couple of days ago. So, clearly for the Government of Gibraltar, as we pledged in a manifesto, we have a high level concentration risk in a particular sector, which is the motor insurance market in the United Kingdom. 30% of all insurance sold in the United Kingdom are sold by Gibraltar insurance companies. So therefore, what I intend to do over the next month, and I've made it clear that my personal preference as a minister is that we have legislation in place by no later than the end of the year, if we can, because clearly, it's not people working at my pace, I've got to work at their pace as well. So I might want something done for a particular date, but for whatever reason, maybe it's not possible to have the legislation in place by then. But I intend, if my timetable suits all parties and all stakeholders, to have a non-UK captive regime in place by the end of the year. I've said that in our manifesto, and I've communicated to stakeholders that that is what I intend to do. First thing. Secondly, I intend to diversify or propose that the industry diversifies away from motor insurance, as important as that is, into the life sector. And if you remember, Ros, we had a series of debates where I made it known that there were a number of potential applicants in the pipeline that potentially could result in a new sector and industry for the jurisdiction.
When are we going to find out more about that?
Give me at least another month, Ros.
Okay.
Yeah, give me another month. I mean, if I had my way, it would be done. It would be done tomorrow. But clearly that's not possible.
Okay,
that's not possible.
We're looking forward to hearing
that's not
more
possible.
on that one.
Thank you very much.
And your view is that it will significantly impact.
If my vision for Gibraltar is realised, then the answer is yes. But of course, my vision needs to be shared by all stakeholders.